Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire. It was a landmark night for Rick Porcello in his last start on Tuesday in Chicago. Porcello pitched the first career complete game, giving up one earned run in 9 innings. Porcello hoping to keep that going here tonight on a gorgeous night for baseball. Welcome to downtown Detroit. Game 1 of this 4-game set, Tigers and Seattle Mariners. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen, glad to have you with us as the Tigers begin a 4-game series here against the M's, trying to gain some more ground now on that magic number as we count them down here. Rick Porcello, what can you say about his last start?
Well, and the Tigers really needed him because they had lost the series in the first 2 legs of that trip through Kansas City, also Boston. They had lost the first game to the White Sox, and Porcello, boy, did he step up. 13 ground ball outs. Porcello shouldn't change one thing here tonight against Seattle.
All right, one positive for the Tigers, the bat of Alex Avila. Really, after a rocky first half, he's hitting over 300 in the second half, had a couple of big homers yesterday.
You know, I don't mean this in a bad way, but it seems like he's finally woken up. I mean, the first half of the year, he just wasn't there. He was in between on the fastball and the breaking ball. If you take a look at all these swings we're going to show you, Avila, look at the hands. The hands are starting to work again. He's always been blessed with really good hands through the strike zone, but he wasn't using those hands at the beginning of the year. He's catching that fastball out in front. When you hang him a breaking ball, he does damage with that pitch. He's using the entire baseball field, and that's why that batting average after the All-Star break is over 300. He's been tremendous.
All right, after a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios and join Matt Shepard. Coming up tonight, the Tigers hoping to beat Seattle here. And how about Alex Avila? He's had some big home runs this year. Game winners against Houston and Cleveland. And, of course, 2 more yesterday against the Royals. Tigers coming up next. It's the Tigers and the Seattle Mariners in town to start a 4-game series here on a gorgeous night for baseball, albeit a little bit cool here at the ballpark tonight. And the Seattle starting lineup presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. It'll be Dustin Ackley to start things off for the M's, followed by Almonte and Seager, Morales, Ibanez, and Smoke. In the middle of the lineup, Zunino, Franklin, and then Triunfel for the Seattle Mariners. They are facing the right-handed offerings of Rick Porcello.
And Rick Porcello probably coming off one of his better starts of his career 5 days ago against the White Sox, his first major league complete game. Tons of ground balls. They did not get many good swings against the Porcello sinker.
Rick tonight presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical as Dustin Ackley leads it off. Ackley batting .256. He's hit 3 home runs this year. Playing out in center field tonight. He's played some infield as well for the Seattle Mariners. Porcello's 0-1 pitch. And it's outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Last time we saw Ackley, he was their starting second baseman, but in the middle of May, they had to send him back down to the minor leagues for a month because he was struggling so badly in the big leagues.
Now Porcello's 1-1 is ripped and just out of the reach of the second baseman into right field. Infante couldn't quite get there.
Take a look at the Tigers' defensive alignment is presented by Beaumont Health System. In the outfield, you got Tuiasa Sopo against the left-hander this evening. Jackson in center. T. Hunter, he is in right. Iglesias and Infante are up the middle. Miggy and Prince, they're on the corners. And the hot-hitting Alex Avila catching his 4th consecutive game.
Here's Abraham Almonte standing in. These are a vastly different looking bunch of Seattle Mariners than the bunch we saw back in early April when the Tigers played a 3-game series out at Safeco Field. 0-1 the count on Almonte. He's playing right field for the Seattle Mariners, and Eric Wedge in his 3rd season as the skipper of the M's. A .440 winning percentage for Seattle.
They like Almonte. They like his skill set, and he's getting a chance to perform here in the month of September.
Almonte has hit safely in his last 5.
It's always bittersweet for managers this time of year. Either you're in the situation like Jim Leyland, where it looks like your team is headed to the postseason, or you're Eric Wedge, and you're taking a look at a lot of really young players from the minor leagues.
Jim Leyland all bundled up tonight. He's got the sweatshirt going. The temperature at game time is 62. A little bit of a breeze at the ballpark. He shows bunt and apparently did not offer at it.
Not only will he show bunt, but he will bunt. And since he's come to the big leagues, he has bunted, or at least attempted to bunt for a base hit in every last one of his starts.
Almonte spent 7 years in the Yankees organization before he came over to the M's in a February trade with the New York Yanks. Wave and a miss.
Good changeup there by Porcello. He hung a breaking ball to Dustin Ackley, their leadoff hitter, and he got himself a base hit into right field. But this is a well-located changeup.
1-2 on Abraham Almonte. Kyle Seager, who's been one of their better offensive performers this year, waiting on deck. Rick in search of the ground ball here. The 1-2 is strike 3 call. That'll work as well. His first strikeout of the ball game tonight.
Real nice swing back fastball by Porcello. Almonte thought this ball was going to be out inside. It did start off the plate inside, but the natural action on the pitch for Porcello allowed it to get right back over the middle of the plate.
Here's the number 3 hitter, Kyle Seager, batting .272.
Every strikeout that Rick Porcello gets these days, it's adding to a new career high. And Seager's the perfect guy to get that ground ball double play against Porcello. He is a dead pull hitter. Everything that he hits usually is to right field, and guys that are pull happy have difficult times with the sinker ball. If he locates one down, he can get himself that double play to get out of the inning.
In there for a strike on Seager.
Here's an example of what I'm talking about regarding Kyle Seager. Doesn't use left field very often. Good player there, probably their best all-around performer.
Time called as Porcello delivered that last pitch. That is about as late as you can give time to a player than Seager got right there from home plate umpire Chris Guccione.
Porcello must think the Kansas City Royals are still in town. And really paying attention to Dustin Ackley over at first base, making sure he keeps his double play in order. But the Tigers pitchers will not pitch in nearly the stress they have the last 3 days when Kansas City was here. Only 45 steals as a team for the Seattle Mariners.
Off the outer edge, 1 ball, 1 strike on Seager, who back in the month of June had a 15-game hitting streak. It's been a kind of a streaky year for them, or for him, but he has posted some of their better numbers. He's had an 0 for 17 stretch, an 0 for 21 stretch. Ackley let it off with a base hit, still at first base with 1 out. That'll get away from Avila. That'll advance the runner. Ackley taking a wide turn, but he will hold up.
I don't know if Porcello's cleats got caught on the mound or what, but that was awfully awkward. Better look here, exactly what happened.
2 balls and 1 strike on Seager. Kendrys Morales waiting on deck. Just underway here at the ballpark, the first of 4 between these 2 ball clubs. A little bit outside, and the count goes to 3-1. There's the veteran Morales and one of their big power bats waiting on deck. In that last start, the complete game victory against the White Sox, Porcello scattered 7 hits, struck out 5, and walked only 1 in that game.
13 ground ball outs in that game for Porcello as well.
Strike call, 3-2. Jim Leyland finally gave Porcello a chance to go out there and complete a game, and he did so. Ackley at second with 1 out. Here's the 3-2. Fly ball left field. Did pretty well. Tuiasosopo is back to the warning track. Runner tagging. Here comes Ackley to third. He's in there sliding. Seager hit it deep to left center. Not deep enough though. 2 gone. That'll bring out Morales. This is a Seattle team that by and large has struggled this year. They are 66-83, yet they are 3rd in the major leagues in home runs. And Morales has hit 22 of them this year. He's knocked in 77 runs. Trying to drive in a 2-out run here in the first. And he shoots that one to center field or straight away, and caught on a leap by Jose Iglesias. The edge of the grass. So Morales has a hit and an RBI taken away. Nifty glove work by Jose. inside Comerica Park. The first of 4 between Seattle and Detroit. Tigers starting lineup tonight brought to you by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. No changes at the top. Jackson, Hunter, Cabrera in your top 3 spots. In the middle, you've got Fielder tonight playing first base. Martinez DHing. Omar bumped up to 6th in the lineup. Tuiasa Sopo, Avila, and Iglesias in the bottom 3 spots in the lineup, and they're facing the left-handed offerings of Joe Saunders.
And Joe Saunders, pretty good pitcher, looking for his 12th win here in his 31st start. He's got a fastball that will get up to 93. He's got a nice little cut fastball he uses as well. The slider and the changeup are really good pitches. The slider for the left-handers and also the changeup to the right-handers.
Austin Jackson will lead it off for Detroit, facing the 32-year-old left-hander Joe Saunders.
Tigers a very aggressive team on first pitch fastballs. That won't change if Saunders comes out trying to fill up the strike zone with a lot of fastballs.
First pitch is high. 1 ball to no strikes on Jackson, who is 3 for 12 so far in the homestand. .275 batting average for the Tigers leadoff man. The 1-0 bounces in. 2 balls, no strikes. Saunders goes 6'3", 215 out of Springfield, Virginia. Seattle signed him as a free agent in February before the spring season started. Right back off the glove. It'll roll to the shortstop. Jackson is out by a step. 1 gone.
Take a look at the starting defense by the Seattle Mariners this evening. It's presented by Tim Hortons. Ibanez, Ackley, Almonte in the outfield. Triunfo, Franklin are up the middle. Smoke, Seager on the corners, and Zunino is behind the plate. And what a play that was by Triunfo, their shortstop. That ball redirected by Saunders, the pitcher. Nice athletic play by their shortstop.
Here is Torrey now with 1 out, and that is in for a strike. .295 this year for Hunter, who again is trying to finish up above 300. And he'll line one to left. That'll help. For 1 out single for Torrey. Tigers have their first hit and base runner of the ball game. It's going to bring up Miguel Cabrera. .350 batting average now for Miggy. And he'll look at a ball outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Drilled toward left center field. That's going to get down. Base hit. Hunter is on his way to third. He is in there standing up, and the Tigers are on the prowl early in this game with a couple of base hits.
Not only do they have a couple of base hits, but Jackson should have had a base hit himself. Saunders able to get a piece of that ball. Their shortstop able to make a really nice play on Jackson, but Torrey and Miggy solid singles into left field. Both on the same pitch, the changeup. And apparently the Tigers are looking for that off-speed pitch out of the hand of Saunders this evening.
So Cabrera's average starting to climb again now. He's hit safely in 5 straight, setting up an opportunity here for Prince Fielder. Lefty-lefty matchup here, and Saunders this year has held lefties to a .220 batting average. Prince, though, batting a solid .280 overall this year. And again reaching the 100 plateau, 102 RBIs. Here's the 1-0. That'll get away from the catcher. Zunino can't handle it. Torrey scores standing up, and the Tigers have a run.
Both pitchers have uncorked a wild pitch in this contest in the very first inning. The one for Saunders, much more costly than Porcello's was in the top half of the first inning. Zunino, the catcher, really had no shot at getting over and getting in front of that breaking ball.
Both runners advance. Man at second now. And a 2-0 count on Fielder. He'll watch that one into the glove for a strike, and the count goes to 2-1.
Saunders has given up more runs than any starting pitcher in the American League since the All-Star break. That is the 13th run now that he has given up in the first inning since the break.
Here's the 2-1 to Prince. Bouncing ball foul, first base side. Level the count now, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fielder's got that average again, threatening to get near 300 again because he's hit safely in 12 of his last 14. And has really perked up this month.
And the one thing that he has done differently than he was doing at the beginning of the year, he is using the opposite field with much more regularity. Therefore, the batting average has perked up. Earlier this season, it looked like Prince, in his second year in the Tigers uniform, was much more pull happy, trying to hit home runs earlier in the season.
Fielder fouls that one off to stay alive. 2-2 the count remains with Martinez waiting on deck. Tigers setting up a run with a couple of hits. Hunter and Cabrera, wild pitch, scores the game's first run. Saunders is a former Angel. He began his career with the Angels. Spent parts of 6 years in Anaheim. In the air to center field where Ackley is coming over. That'll be the second out of the inning. So Fielder unable to advance the runner, and Cabrera will hold it second with 2 gone now as Martinez looks for the 2-out hit. Victor at 298. 4 hits in the series against the Royals.
That Royals team could really pitch. It slowed down quite a few of the guys for the most part in that 3-game series. Good staff, good bullpen.
Royals tonight hosting Cleveland in Kansas City. The Cleveland Indians coming into play. 5 back in the division, but certainly much closer in the wild card, which has tightened up considerably in the American League. Cleveland a half game back. There's a strike called on Victor. Martinez this year has knocked in 75. Cabrera at second with 2 outs. One ball, 1 strike. Tampa and Texas are actually getting together tonight. They are playing each other. Cleveland a half game back. See the Tigers magic number at 9. They lead Cleveland by 5 in the Central. Two balls and 1 strike. And now Martinez will step out as Saunders steps off. Victor has gotten that average near the 300 mark, largely due to a terrific second half. 364 since the All-Star break. Here's the 2-1. Outside, 3 balls and 1 strike. 78 hits now post All-Star break for Victor, which is 3 ahead of Hosmer and Hunter Pence of San Francisco as you look at your major league leaders. Rick Porcello has been given an early run, perhaps more here if Martinez can come through with a 2-out hit. Whistled foul, back out of play. Tigers over the next 4 days have to see an opportunity here. There was some thought that perhaps Felix Hernandez would pitch in this series, but he will not. They will get Iwakuma, who's had himself a dynamite year.
He's good. He's a really good pitcher, Iwakuma. His ranks in the top 10 in a lot of really important categories as far as starting pitchers are concerned.
Well, Victor's still waiting patiently on Saunders, who has slowed the pace considerably here. Now the 3-2. And he fought that one off in on his hands. Full count on Martinez. The Tigers a first inning run courtesy of a wild pitch. Omar Infante waiting on deck. Bouncing ball to short. Trienfeld will throw to first for the outs, and the inning's over. Tigers get one run on a couple of hits and leave a man. It had a playoff feel to it over the weekend against the Royals. Cool weather and 3 really good games against KC. The Tigers off to an early lead here tonight, 1-0 as we go to the second. Tigers a run on 2 hits, and Seattle no runs on 1 hit. It'll be Raul Ibanez, the veteran, to start things off for Seattle.
Talked to quite a few players today, and they all echoed the same sentiments that you just echoed, that was a really good series, and that Kansas City Royals squad is going to be a team to be reckoned with the next number of years with their skill set.
Alex Avila, a couple of big home runs yesterday to give the Tigers a win. They took the final game in that series, shaved the magic number to 9. Ibanez still going at age 41 and doing it still quite well.
And at age 41, he still has a very quick bat. And he really hasn't lost anything as far as being able to catch up to guys that throw hard, guys that have mid-90s fastballs. He's had a really nice career.
27 home runs this year for Ibanez. He's knocked in 62. And Porcello missed inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Probably playing a little bit more this year than he thought he was going to when they signed him as a free agent in the offseason. He thought maybe he would DH a couple times a week, but did not expect to get consistent reps like he really did the first half of the year.
And he'll shoot that one to left field out of the reach of Cabrera, who has swung around towards short. It'll be a leadoff single for Raul Ibanez.
And Raul Ibanez did exactly what you're supposed to do to a two-seam fastball that is fading down and away from you. He's a professional hitter. That ball about 3 inches off the dish. They're playing him to pull. He took what they were giving him. Nice job by Tuiasosopo keeping him to a single.
So the leadoff man is on. The second hit of the ball game for Seattle. That'll bring up Justin Smoak. .244 batting average this year for Smoak. He's hit 16 homers.
Smoak likes Tigers pitching. He's hit quite a few home runs in his big league career against Tigers pitching, which started with the Texas Rangers.
Smoak has hit 5 home runs in this ballpark alone, which is not a home run hitting conducive ballpark, but he's been able to go deep quite a bit here.
He's got some sock in that bat. Switch hitter.
Fouled back to the screen. No balls, 2 strikes.
But not performing nearly to the level that they thought they were going to get when they did make a deal for him a few years back, and they got him from the Texas Rangers. He was a principal in that deal, and they thought he was going to be an all-star at first base.
0-2 on the switch hitting Justin Smoak, who is much better from the left side than he is from the right side. The 0-2 is outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. All 16 of his home runs have been hit left-handed. Average much higher. Porcello pitched around a leadoff single back in the first, trying to do the same here in the second. Here's the 1-2. Missed it outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Only 179 from the right side of the plate. 276 lefty for Smoak. And he pops that one up. Left side of the infield. Cabrera toward the foul line, and 1 gone. Smoak now is 0 for his last 17. By the way, you can vote for your Tigers McDonald's Player of the Game, presented by the new Quarter Pounder BLT. Using your cell phone, text Tigers followed by a space, then the player's uniform number to 37338. Or if you'd like, vote online at foxsportsdetroit.com.
Yeah, the Mariners just finished up a 3-game set against the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis, and then they come here to the Motor City to take on the Detroit Tigers, and I really can't think of 2 other venues that are as special to go if you're an opposing player than those 2 right now.
The ball inside to Mike Zunino.
2 outstanding baseball cities.
This is a season-long 10-game trip for Seattle, so it comes right at the end of the season, their longest trip of the year. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike on the former #1 pick, Mike Zunino.
And to take that a step further, they had to look at that St. Louis Cardinals pitching staff, which is really good in its own right, to come here to face one of the best staffs in the American League. The Tigers will run at you.
Here's the 1-1. Chopped foul. 1-2 on Zunino. Well, Seattle will miss Max Scherzer, who pitched yesterday, but doesn't seem to matter. They're going to get a quality pitcher every single night in this series, beginning with Porcello tonight, Sanchez, Verlander, and then Pfister.
And it's a lethal combination. When you look at some of the numbers that their offense has posted this year, they've been one of the poorest offensive clubs in the majors.
Ball low. 2-2 on Mike Zunino. Nick Franklin waiting on deck. Swing and a miss, and Zunino is out of there. Porcello has his second strikeout tonight.
Rick's got a lot of late life on his two-seam fastball today. Same life that he had on that two-seamer 5 days ago against the White Sox when he was able to get 13 ground outs. 92 with that last two-seamer. He'll get up to 95 with his four-seam fastball. And, of course, the curveball's been a really good pitch for Rick all season long.
Here's Nick Franklin. The breaking ball stays high. 1-0 on the second baseman for the M's. There are certainly a lot of differences between these two teams, but when you look at 7, 8, 9 hitters, Tigers have the best average at the bottom of the lineup in the American League. The Mariners are dead last, only 224 from their bottom three. That's pulled to second base. Infante has it there. And the inning is over, so nothing comes. A leadoff single on our way to the bottom of the second at Comerica Park. Is brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. Jeep, rediscover the freedom of the open road at the Jeep Celebration event. And by Stouffer's Family Meals, dinner made the way you'd make it. Tigers on top in this one, 1-0 as we go now to the bottom of the second. And the Tigers send Omar Infante to the plate, facing lefty Joe Saunders. Omar takes ball one to start things off. Infante, Tuiasosopo, and then Alex Avila. Saunders gave up 2 singles and a wild pitch, also factored in the scoring. There's a line drive to right center, base hit. Over there to cut it off is Ackley, going to try for 2. The throw not in time. Diving head first with a double is Infante.
Omar Infante is not 100% as far as that ankle is concerned, but yet he goes out there and he produces at a very high level. He was thinking 2 right out of the batter's box. It was going to be very difficult for the center fielder, Dustin Ackley, to get over to this ball and then redirect his body, get anything on the throw to prevent Omar Infante from sliding in safely at second base. Nice play by Ackley. He made it close, but great hustle by Infante.
Only Omar's second hit on this homestand. We'll see if the Tigers now can get him in. Here is Tuiasosopo. Matt getting a start here tonight against the lefty Saunders.
That was Omar's first hit of the season against Seattle Mariners pitching. He was 0 for 12 when the Tigers made that trip out west.
Tui batting .270. He's hit 7 home runs. He had not made a start since September the 3rd, so it had been a while. And Jim saying before the game today that he'd been working quite a bit recently with Lloyd McClendon, the Tigers hitting instructor, and they're trying to iron some things out. And Jim also made a point of saying, you know what, we don't want to forget about this guy because he was so big for us in the first half. So I want him to start tonight. He'll give him an opportunity here against Saunders. Now he's ahead, 2 balls and no strikes. And he'll take 3-0 the count. Waiting on deck is Alex Avila. .3-0 from Saunders. He'll take it. It's a strike right at the knees. Matt played for Seattle from 2008 to 2010. And in his time with Seattle, he played in 71 total games at the major league level. Tonight, game 72 in just 1 season with the Tigers. He's gotten a longer look. And it's grounded foul, 3-2.
Didn't know whether Infante was going to start this game or not. He was taking ground balls at second base, and a ball was hit off the bat. And he was hit on the ankle, it appeared, the right ankle. And they took a look at Omar. He walked off the field, did not finish batting practice, but apparently good to start this contest.
And good enough to double to start things off here in the second. Here's the 3-2. Bouncing ball back up the middle, and a nice play there by Trienfeld. He'll spin and throw him out.
Trienfeld has already made a couple of really nice plays in this game. Jackson hit one right up the box to begin the game. It was off the glove of the pitcher, and Trienfeld was able to redirect the body and make a nice throw to get Jackson. This time he does a pirouette and fires a strike to Justin Smoke, the first baseman.
Tuiasosopo gets the runner up to third with 1 out. Now we'll see if Avila can score him, and it looks like Seattle early on in this game will draw the infield in. Avila looking for his first hit against Seattle pitching this year. 2 homers in yesterday's game gives him 11 for the season. And he looks at a strike on the outer edge, 0-1.
Talked about Avila at the top of the show today. His hands are working very well for him right now. Earlier in the season, his swing was much longer. He wasn't catching up to fastballs. He was swinging at breaking balls down in the dirt. But the hands have worked very efficiently for him the second half of the year, and that's why the numbers are way up.
0-2. So Alex finds himself behind in the count. Over his last 9 games, he's hitting at a .407 clip. Good block by Zunino behind the plate, and the count goes 1-2.
Zunino has already been awfully busy this evening, blocking several breaking balls down in the dirt out of the hand of Joe Saunders.
Infante leadoff double, standing at third now with 1 out. Avila trying to plate him here. Alex has knocked in 45 this season. Swing and a miss. Down he goes as Saunders gets a big strikeout. That's the first of the game for the Seattle lefty.
Saunders has a couple different breaking balls. One he'll throw at about 83 miles an hour. This one he really slowed down to the speed of 79, and that got Avila out on that front foot, and he swung right over the top of it.
So a chance now for Iglesias. Jose batting .315. Infield back now with 2 outs.
Iglesias had the day off yesterday for the most part. He did enter in the top half of the 9th inning to go to shortstop. And Jim Leland took Santiago out of the game.
1 ball, 1 strike. Shin splints probably something you'll have to deal with the rest of the season, but he's had an ability to run and run the bases with no trouble despite those shin splints. But every now and then he just needs a day or two to kind of recharge a bit with those legs. There's a ball inside. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I was talking to him before the game today, and I was asking him how did his body feel, and he said it feels good. And I said 100%. He says, well, no one's 100% right now, but my shin splints are pretty good. You ever had shin splint? injury at all?
Not that I know of.
I don't either. I don't remember having anything like that.
But I've talked to those that have had that injury.
Painful.
And it is not good.
Painful.
I mean, not good. 3-1. Jackson waiting on deck. Bouncing ball left side. Nice hop for Seager. That'll end the inning and the threat. No runs. A double is stranded. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. Verlander or Nick Lidstrom life-size bobblehead during our tin can auction. You can purchase 2 for $5 raffle tickets anytime prior to the end of the third inning at Gate D tomorrow inside Comerica Park. All proceeds benefit the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan, Detroit Tigers Foundation, Detroit Red Wings Foundation, and affiliates of Village Charities. Well, the Tigers have themselves a 1-0 lead as we go to the top of inning number 3 now. Porcello back to work and a bouncing ball to second. It'll be handled there by Infante, and Carlos Trienfeld is out on 1 pitch. Good start for Rick here in the third. Now the top of the order, Dustin Ackley. Single for Ackley to start the game. Got as far as second base, and that was it. That's it for a strike. 0-1.
With that beard, Ackley looks like he should be playing for the Boston Red Sox or the Oakland Athletics. One of those two squads.
Been a beard epidemic around the American League this year. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ackley. Ackley sent down to the minor leagues for a spell this year to try and get his batting average turned around. It's at .327 in the second half. So apparently that stint in the minors at Tacoma, their AAA team, worked. Former #1 pick out of North Carolina. The 2-1 pitch is lined foul. 2-2 on Dustin Ackley.
You talked about Ackley's numbers this year as far as positions he's played. He's played 4 different positions for the Mariners this year in the big leagues. And if he doesn't get that batting average up and start to produce a little bit more, he might find himself a role player, not a starter.
Chopper hit to second, straight at Infante, who's going to handle a couple of opportunities here. And there are 2 gone into third, which sends us to a game break now. We check in with Mickey York. All right, Nick, thanks. Boy, the Rangers are dropping like a rock. They are tied with Tampa, and this is exactly what Bud Selig had envisioned late in the season, about a week and a half to go, and that second wild card spot up for grabs as well.
They played so well when they lost Nelson Cruz to suspension, but they really miss him right now from an offensive standpoint.
Here's the 1-0.
Mickey York has made it all the way back to Southfield. He was at the ballpark today for Tigers Live. He must have had a police escort.
No, he's got his own private jet.
He rolls like you roll.
It's either a helicopter or a jet. They've got a landing pad out there in Southfield. The 2-0 pitch is in there for a strike, 2-1.
A lively fastball tonight by Porcello. All of them at 92, 93 with a lot of tilt on them. A lot of fading action away from the left-handers.
Popped up foul. And Vila will give chase, but runs out of real estate. 2-2 on Abraham Almonte. The Seattle team coming into play here tonight. Well, they are dead last in team average. And only Minnesota and Chicago have scored fewer runs than Seattle this year.
They thought they were going to be much better. That's why they brought Ibanez back. That's why they made a trade for Kendrys Morales. That's why they signed Michael Morse as a free agent. But they just have not performed very well from an offensive standpoint. Their pitching was pretty good last year. It's not been so good this year.
Drilled to right field and hit well. That ball is up and that ball is gone. A home run. Well, that's what Seattle does do well. They will hit the ball out of the ballpark. They've done it again as Almonte hits his second.
Talked about Almonte when he came to the dish his first time up. They really like his skill set. He can do multiple things. He can really run, and apparently he's got some bat speed too. That was a breaking ball that Porcello didn't quite get to the area where he wanted to get it to, and Almonte jumped all over it.
Second career homer for Almonte, the 171st of the year for Seattle as a team, which is third best in the American League. Here's Kyle Seager. Ball outside, 1-0 on Seager, who flied to left field back in the first. Seager making his 103rd consecutive start at third base for Seattle in this game. Good power, good average, runs a little bit. The 1-1 pitch. 2 balls, 1 strike on their number 3 hitter. M's have tied it up on the 2-out solo shot by Abraham Almonte. Now Porcello's 2-1. Drilled down the right field line, but hooking foul. It's 45 now for Porcello.
Yeah, throwing strikes never been an issue for Porcello. And 2 or fewer walks in all of his starts this year for the most part. Strike machine.
Tigers and Seattle met way back in April, and Detroit taking 2 out of 3 at Safeco Field. Backed him out of there.
He's done that quite often here tonight against the left-handers, and really that's the next step for Porcello, is to improve on his career numbers against left-handed batters. And since he's come to the big leagues, left-handers are .308 against Porcello.
And he lost him.
And that could be problematic, I should say, because you always have opposing managers stacking their lineup with left-handed batters against Rick.
Lefties .308, righties .262. Here comes Kendrys Morales. The DH. Line to the shortstop his first time up. Looked like he was going to drive in a run, but a leaping play by Iglesias took a hit and an RBI away. And he takes a strike. 0-1. Wasn't too long ago that Morales hit 34 home runs with the Angels. That was back in 2009. Then he suffered that broken leg, celebrating a
couple
walk-off.
years, didn't it?
And he missed an entire year with that broken leg. That's fouled straight back. And even when you come back, or when he came back, it was slow to go. But pretty good year this year. 22 homers, 77 RBIs. Seager, the runner at first base with 2 outs. He's just walked. Ooh, he tried to hold up when he went around for strike 3. And Avila will throw it down to first base. Inning is over. They tie the game with a home run by Almonte. Tigers coming up in the bottom of the 3rd. It's a 1-1 game. Brought to you by Arby's. Try Arby's snack and save menu today. Arby's, slicing up freshness. And by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. Back here at Comerica Park. Another good crowd watching Tigers baseball here tonight. It's a 1-1 ball game as we go to the bottom of inning number 3. In the top of the Tigers lineup coming up, it'll be Jackson, then Hunter, and then Cabrera. Joe Saunders back to the hill. And Saunders in this game has given up 1 run on 3 hits. Sidestepped some trouble back in the 2nd when he gave up a leadoff double. Tigers failed to score Infante, though. 2-0 the count on Jackson. AJ is 0 for 1. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Drilled into left center field. Base hit. Ackley cuts it off, holding Jackson to a leadoff single. By the way, if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow and get a free small order of curly fries. Tigers have yet to go deep tonight. We'll see what Torrey can do here now. He's singled and scored the Tigers run back in the 1st inning.
Joe Saunders has already bounced quite a few breaking balls, so if you're Jackson on first base, you need to be aware of that fact. And if he bounces another one, you need to get yourself a good secondary lead and make sure you give yourself every opportunity to get down in the scoring position. Zunino, their catcher, has been awfully busy this evening.
Here's the 0-1. Torrey sends a ground ball to second. This could be two. Franklin, Trienfeld, and on to first base for a double play. 4-6-3.
Nice feed by Franklin to Trienfeld, and Trienfeld makes sure Jackson gets down and drops down to that sidearm angle to make sure Austin Jackson slides prematurely and doesn't get close to taking him out.
Now Cabrera with 2 outs. Sends a high fly ball into shallow left center field. Ackley coming in. It's going to be a quick inning for Joe Saunders. Let's go to the 4th.
Charter Internet. When these two teams hooked up out west on April 17th, there were 40 combined strikeouts in that game. 21 by Tigers pitchers, 19 by Seattle, which is the most in a major league game this year. Of course, that game did go 14 innings. Porcello started for the Tigers, and it was King Felix for the Seattle Mariners.
One of those nights where you need the heaters in the dugout. It's a little bit cool here at the ballpark this evening.
Max started that game, not Rick Porcello.
Porcello to the hill facing Ibanez, who looks at a strike. Ibanez, Smoke, and then Zunino. These are the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for Seattle. Home run by Almonte in the 3rd tied it up. The 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. There are 8 active players right now who have homered both at Tiger Stadium, the old Tiger Stadium, and Comerica Park, and Ibanez is one of the 8. Of course, Comerica Park opened up in the year 2000. Ibanez hit one back in '98 at Tiger Stadium. Down he goes this time, though, and that is a strikeout for Rick.
Good curveball here by Porcello. And good two-seam fastball to speed the bat up, and then the really nice bender with some outstanding depth on it at 77 miles an hour.
Here is Smoke. Popped up his first time. In for a strike.
Justin Smoke was a high school teammate of the starting catcher, Matt Wieters, in South Carolina. Imagine that.
Here's the 0-1. He waves and misses. 0-2 the count.
Two guys with that kind of skill set on the same high school team.
Goose Creek, South Carolina.
Wieters has gone on to make all-star teams, and then we told you earlier that Smoke still trying to find his way in the big leagues.
Smoke was the key piece coming over in the Cliff Lee deal, and I think at this point Seattle figured that the numbers would be a little better than they have been. He hit only .217 all of last year.
When they got him from Texas, he was playing some outstanding baseball. That's why Seattle thought that he was going to be a cornerstone at first base for the next decade. He's got some soft hands. Defensively, catching the baseball has never been an issue for him, but the offensive numbers just aren't there yet.
Porcello is ahead 1-2. They play Smoke to pull on the infield. And a little bit outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Justin Smoke. Waiting on deck, Mike Zunino. Here's the 2-2. Way high, 3-2. Fouled off. 3-2 the count remains on Smoke. Tigers got a run in the first inning. They went ahead on a wild pitch with the runner at third. And then Almonte hit his home run in the third to tie it up. Drill to right center field. That'll get down. Base hit. Jackson cuts it off, and Smoke has a 1-out single. Hey fans, the pennant race is on, and you can place a deposit on 2014 Detroit Tigers season tickets. And if you do so, receive a 2013 postseason priority. Call 313-471-BALL or visit Tigers.com. Postseason baseball not too far away, and hopefully the Tigers will be involved again this year.
Tigers fans getting spoiled in postseason every year.
Here's Mike Zunino, and he looks at a strike 0-1. Won't be long before those towels will be waving here at the ballpark, hopefully.
Folks that have scarves and hats on, too. It's already some folks bundled up down there tonight.
Including the manager.
Collar up.
He's gone from a sweatshirt to a full jacket now. There's a wave and a miss, 0-2. Zunino struck out his first time up. First round pick last year, as a matter of fact, out of Florida. So he hadn't been in the minor leagues all that long. A much decorated catcher at Florida.
Game's really changed, and guys getting into the big leagues so rapidly these days, especially position players. Pitchers you can kind of understand, but position players, catchers, that's awfully quick.
5 strikeouts now for Porcello.
Another one of those lively fastballs he's featuring today.
Here's Nick Franklin. He bounced out his first time up. Skies this one in the air to left center field. Tuiasosopo to the gap to make the catch. And that is that for Seattle.
Weekend when the Kansas City Royals were here, the last 16 contests for Prince Fielder, boy, his bat has been on fire. And to the tune of a .424 batting average, tons of extra base hits. The OPS is off the charts, and he's just getting it done. And it's welcome that he's doing it at the end of the season, leading into the postseason. So it's good to be clicking on all cylinders.
Fielder, Martinez, and Infante here in the fourth inning facing Joe Saunders. Tied at 1 here tonight. 1 run, 4 hits for both squads in this one. The first of 4 in this series between these two teams. First pitch outside to left-handed batting Prince Fielder. Prince in the top 10 in RBIs. He's 5th. And top 10 in walks as well this year. The 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes.
And a dangerous count here for Joe Saunders if he decides to throw Prince Fielder a fastball. Carl Willis, a pitching coach, longtime buddy of Eric Wedge. As a matter of fact, he was Wedge's pitching coach in Cleveland.
Pulled on the ground to second, straight at Franklin. And Fielder's out, 1 gone. We'll bring up Victor.
Eric Wedge, their manager, had quite a scare. And this season he had a stroke and missed quite a bit of time before he was able to resume his duties as big league manager.
He's too young to have a stroke.
Life, man. Life.com, buddy. You never know. Got to take care of yourself.
Here is Victor Martinez now with 1 out. And he looks at a strike, 0-1. For Victor, he bounced out. He's 0 for 1 in this game. And Martinez now has been on a pretty good stretch. In his last 20 games, he has hit safely in 18 of them, solidifying that 5 spot in the Tigers lineup, which for the first couple of months the Tigers had to rely on Cabrera and Fielder. And then Victor got hot. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Saunders, a former first-round pick of the Angels back in 2002 out of Virginia Tech. Parts of 6 years with the Halos. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball to third. Gobbled up there by Seager. Martinez is out. A couple of ground ball outs, 2 away. Total of 50 now for Saunders. That 20 pitch first inning took a while. The Tigers got their run in that first. He had only a 6-pitch third. Here's Infante, a bit of a different look tonight, wearing the Sox high. .316 batting average, double to lead off the second, but did not score, and he looks at a ball inside. Infante now is 7 for 15 in his career against the lefty Saunders. 2-0 the count. Tigers by and large don't have too many guys with a deep track record against Saunders, but some at bats for Omar, and he's made good use of them. Backs away from a strike, run it to 2-1.
It could be possibly that Omar Infante has changed his look with the pants around the knees. He was really slowed down in that series against Kansas City. Didn't do much offensively, so pitchers and players will switch it up.
The double that he hit back in the second, which perhaps is a byproduct of the high Sox, snapped a 3 for 20 skid. Tuiasosopo waiting on deck. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Sox didn't work that time. 1-2-3 inning for Joe Saunders. 4 in the books here at Comerica, and we are still tied at 1.
well documented the fact that the last couple of starts, Rick Porcello's had a lot of life on that two-seam fastball. It's 92 miles an hour, but it's the movement that doesn't allow the hitters to get good swings at it. And we also told you that he scrapped the slider in the offseason, which has allowed him to kind of perfect this curveball. Rick, a career-high strikeouts this season. Every one that he gets adds on to his career high. He's been a really nice number 5 starter since coming to the big leagues.
Out distribution for Porcello. 5 punch-outs in this game. And 3 of them on the ground, 4 via the air. And Porcello facing Trienfeld to start the inning, then Ackley and Almonte. Trienfeld bounced down to his first time up, batting 107. He'll take a strike, 0-1 on Trienfeld, who's now 3 for 28 in the big leagues this year. Down to AAA, was batting .282 with 5 home runs. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes. This swing seemed a little bit long. It's our view from high above the scoreboard at Comerica Park. There's another swing and a miss. That didn't take long. 1 gone. 6 strikeouts now for Rick.
If you're a Seattle Mariners hitter and the pitcher has this kind of life on his fastball, as a right-handed hitter, you simply have to pull your hands close to your body and try to hit that ball the opposite way. A lot of their hitters are trying to get out in front of it. Therefore, they're swinging right over the top of it.
Porcello's strikeout high this year is 11. He did that against the Pirates. There's a strike called on Dustin Ackley. Ackley coming off a .390 month of August. The 0-1.
Ackley has already gotten a steady diet of curveballs from Porcello. This is his 3rd at bat of the evening. He did single successfully in the right field on a breaking ball his first time up.
That one stayed up, fastball, and it's a check swing foul, 1-2.
That's what happens when you're looking for a breaking ball and then the pitcher throws you a 90-mile-per-hour fastball and you still think you can get to it. That's exactly what happened there. Ackley, looking soft, still thought he could hit the fastball.
Got it with a breaking ball on the outer edge. Ackley punched out of there, and 7 Porcello strikeouts.
Real nice pitch sequence to Ackley by Porcello, and great leadership skills by Alex Avila, knowing exactly what Ackley was looking for. They caught him in between, and he got the strikeout looking.
Abraham Almonte, who tied this game with a home run back in the 3rd. He'll stand in. Strike called on Almonte. Cabrera on the grass at 3rd after that show of bunt. Fouled at home plate. Make it 0-2. Almonte is listed at 5'9", 205, a rather stocky build for the young man from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Here's the 1-1 offering. Slow roller hit to the right side. Fielder will come over to make the play. Tried to shovel it to Rick, but he couldn't handle it. Infield single. Second hit of the game for Almonte.
A little indecisiveness on the part of Porcello whether he was going to break right away to the bag or whether Prince Fielder was going to do it. He did get there, but he was not able to handle the ball cleanly, and that might go as an error, not a base hit.
It's a base hit.
Is it?
Infield single. which is going to be the 5th hit of the game now for Seattle. That's going to bring up Kyle Seager, who walked but did not score back in the 3rd. 271 for Seager. Strike one called on Seager.
Rick Porcello 16 of 21 in first pitch strikes, and which is the reason why he's racked up 7 strikeouts. He's been ahead of just about every last one of these Seattle Mariners hitters, and he's done a marvelous job of expanding the strike zone after he's gotten ahead of them. Do you think that was a generous base hit, though?
No, I thought it was a base hit. I thought it was kind of a tough play, a tweener. What was your thinking on that?
I thought that was probably in the air. I mean, it's my personal opinion. I thought big leaguers make that play.
Seager was a 3rd-round pick by Seattle a couple of years ago in 2009. His brother was a 1st-round pick last year by the Dodgers. There's a ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. One run, 5 hits tonight for Seattle. 1 run, 4 hits for Detroit. Neither team with an error to this point. On the outer edge, and now Seager behind in the count, 1-2. Not real crazy about that last call from Chris Guccione.
When you're filling up the strike zone as consistently as Porcello has done this evening, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt, whether it be a couple of inches off the inside corner or a couple of inches off the outside corner.
Tigers tonight in search of their 87th win of the season. They came in at 86 and 63. Here's the 1-2. Avila down to block it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tigers have been a really good home team this year. In fact, last couple of years they have. And they're 46 and 28 at home this season. Only Oakland and Boston have more home wins.
Ironically enough, Tigers chasing both those 2 squads for the best record in the American League.
That they are, and that certainly comes with some perks once the postseason rolls around. Namely, home field advantage.
American League will have home field advantage in the World Series as well, thanks to their victory in New York, led by Jim Leland.
Fill it now 3-2 on Seager with Kendrys Morales on deck. It's a total of 80 now for Rick. Most of the innings in the teens, with the exception of the 3rd, a 20-pitch 3rd. That was the inning in which El Mate homered, tying the ball game up at 1. Runner going on 3-2, and it's popped up. 3rd base side, foul ground. Miggy makes the play to retire with a side. No runs going to hit. 1 man left. And Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. The last player age 41 or older to hit at least 27 home runs in a season. That is what Mr. Ibanez has done this year at the age of 41. We'd like to know the last guy to do it. That is your mission tonight. Come up with the answer to that AT&T trivia question. Matt Tuiasosopo leads it off as we go to the bottom of the fifth, and he skips out of the way from a Saunders pitch inside.
You know the answer to that trivia question?
I did not. I do know the answer only because I saw the answer, but I did not get it initially, even though I should have, thinking back on it. Here's the 1-0 pitch outside, 2 balls, no strikes. Saunders had a 1-2-3-4 facing the bottom of the Tigers lineup in this inning. Grounded foul. 2-1 the count. This is only the second start since September the 1st for Tuiasosopo. The 2-1 pitch. Here's a strike in the outer edge. 2-2. Off the end of the bat, scooped up by Smoke. Wide throw. Tuiasosopo is safe at first base. Trying to hit the pitcher covering, but his throw sent Saunders sprawling to the ground. He's getting up slowly.
Smoke, pretty good defender over at first base, and he had plenty of time to make a better throw to Joe Saunders, who got over to the bag in a timely manner, but he threw the ball behind him, and Saunders couldn't make the adjustment.
Wasn't able to lead the receiver there, and that's going to be an E3.
It's a good thing he's not on your fantasy football team.
You know, it doesn't matter these days. He's on my team.
You won, didn't you, last week?
First week. This week I got pounded in submission.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Well, thanks for bringing that up.
I thought it was all good.
It was last week. Here's Avila. He struck out his first time up. Saunders was slow to getting up, catching his breath as he gets back to the hill. Avila 2 out of 9 now in the homestand. Swing and a miss. There was a time when Saunders was one of the better lefties in the American League. He had a 16-win season and a 17-win season with the Angels.
Kind of lost in the shadow of all the other really good left-handers in the American League. John Lester, Price, Sabathia, just to name a few.
89 career wins. Bouncing ball back up the middle. Trienfeld backhanded flip one, relayed at first. It'll get by Smoke.
Ooh, that would have been real nice had they been able to complete that. It would have been a 1-6-4-3 double play, and Trienfeld, he has shown some range at the shortstop position. He hadn't done much with the bat so far this year, but he got that ball to Franklin. Franklin bounced it over to Smoke, and Smoke couldn't help out the second baseman.
One on, one out. It's going to bring up Iglesias. He grounded to the third baseman his first time up. And he looks at a ball high just above the belt.
And Saunders inviting a hit and run here, possibly. And Jim really trusts the bat handling skills of Iglesias. He's squeezed a couple of times this year. And since Iglesias has put on the Tigers uniform, he's put the hit and run on quite a bit. It's a great count to do it in if he chooses to do so.
Iglesias took a really long look down at Tom Brookins.
Almost too long. That's why he threw over first base. opposing managers and coaches saw exactly what you just saw. That's why you have to be precise when you're giving signs, and if you're the hitter, you can't look down there twice.
Here's the 1-0. Bouncing ball to second. Franklin tags the runner one, and he'll throw to first for the double play.
It was the hit and run, but it didn't work.
We'll go to the 6th.
Vacated first base. We'll take a look at the second baseman here, Franklin, and how he takes it and he holds onto that ball with both hands to apply the tag of Avila. And when you're in the baseline like that, the base runner can simply run you over if he chooses to do so, but Franklin wasn't going to have any of that. That's why he kept the hand, the ball in the glove, and then he was able to complete the double play. I don't think I've seen anybody really go out of their way to take out of a second baseman in the baseline since we watched Albert Bell do it to Fernando Vena about a decade ago. He flipped him upside down.
That was a severe mismatch.
It was ugly.
Well, Porcello going back to the hill now in a 1-1 ball game. And we are headed to the 6th inning. Kendrys Morales leads it off.
It might have been over a decade. I'm not sure, but it was a long time ago.
Morales, Ibanez, and Smoke in the 6th for Seattle. We've been tied since the home run in the 3rd by Almonte. Breaking ball drops a little bit low. 1 ball, no strikes to Kendrys Morales. Here's the 1-0. Porcello tonight 7 strikeouts. He's gotten that many a couple of times this year. We mentioned his season high is 11 against the Pirates. That was back on May 23rd. On the outer edge, 1-2. Rick with a quality start in 9 of his last 13 for Jim Leyland. Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Morales. Seattle gave up Jason Vargas, the pitcher, to get Kendrys Morales, adding some offense to the middle of their lineup. Now Porcello with the 2-2. Grounded foul down the first base line.
Rick Porcello got his 60th victory just 5 days ago, and there's only 3 other active players that have gotten their 60th victories in their career prior to their 25th birthday. Felix Hernandez, CC Sabathia, and Clayton Kershaw. And now Rick Porcello is in that elite company.
Here's the 2-2, and it's off the plate, 3-2.
All three of those guys have won Cy Youngs.
The victory here tonight for Rick would be his 13th of the season. His career high is 14. He'll have an opportunity to get there. Swing and a miss, and Morales is out of there. That'll be 8 strikeouts now for Rick. 1 out. Here's that AT&T trivia question that we asked you a little bit earlier. Who was the last player age 41 or older to hit at least 27 home runs in a season?
Couldn't get it.
Barry Bonds.
Should have got it.
It was so easy.
Jeez.
We couldn't get it. 2007.
I couldn't think whether he shut it down before 41 or not.
1 gone now. Here is Ibanez. We were talking earlier about Ibanez being one of 8 actives who have homered both at Tiger Stadium and Comerica Park. Derek Jeter and A-Rod on that list. Miguel Tejada, Eric Chavez. Guys that have been around a while. Torrey Hunter, our own Torrey Hunter now.
They rave about the leadership skills of Ibanez. They said in the clubhouse he is an absolute leader, and of course we talk about that on the regular regarding Torrey Hunter.
Check swing. It's amazing to me that a guy like Ibanez, who obviously had some big hits last year for the Yankees, but I mean, the guy's 41 years old. You would think, if anything, he's going to be DHing, but he still goes out there and plays the outfield. As he is tonight, he's out in left field. Big swing there. And he got Avila on the backswing.
Rick Porcello has done an outstanding job today against their left-handed batters with his curveball. We told you his career numbers coming in against right-handed batters over 300 today. He's been able to neutralize them for the most part.
Ooh, the hook just stayed a little bit outside. It was close, 3-2. Justin Smoke on deck. Ground ball foul, first base side.
Here's a couple of invaluable veterans. Of course, Torrey Hunter, his presence in the Tigers clubhouse and on the field has been unbelievable. And Raul Ibanez has done marvelous work tutoring some of the younger kids in their clubhouse. There are some of their career numbers, totals in what they've been able to accomplish.
And he lost him. It's a 1-out walk to Ibanez. Time for a game break now. We check in with Mickey York. All right, Mick, thanks. Here it is 1-1. The Tigers trying to get to that magic number. It's down to 9, but Cleveland is not really helping out all that much. That'd be Chris Sale over the weekend. Here's a ground ball right side. Infante spinning, fires to second and threw it away. Couldn't hit the glove of Iglesias. Everybody is safe. Maybe one of those plays where Infante was better served to get the out at first. Now they're a 2 on with 1 out.
The bottom line is they need to get 1 out. They didn't get that out. A good throw to Iglesias, and they do get the out, but Omar did not throw the ball where Iglesias could catch it. Therefore, Iglesias had to reach over across the bag and couldn't keep the right foot on the bag as he was doing so.
So Seattle with an opportunity now. Mike Zunino steps in. Swing and a miss. And the one thing Porcello has going for him now is facing the bottom of the Seattle lineup, and we mentioned that their 7, 8, 9 guys have a combined average of a little over 200.
He's already punched him out a couple of times tonight, but he'll take that ground ball right now. He doesn't want to get the strikeout. He'll take the 2 for 1.
No balls, 2 strikes. Charge Infante with an error on that last play. Each ball club now with one miscue. Zunino again in the hole in the count, 0-2. Got a piece of that one to stay alive. Ibanez and smoke the base runners. We're in the 6th inning, tied at 1. Porcello in search of that ground ball. And it's grounded foul. 0-2 the count stays. That'll be an even 100 now for Rick. Porcello in his complete game against Chicago. This is how dominant he was. He threw just 105 pitches.
100 pitches have really snuck up quickly on Porcello this evening.
I was thinking the same thing. I was kind of surprised. We're only in the 6th.
It did not look like he was pitching in that kind of stress, but he has racked up 8 strikeouts, which is what he doesn't normally do. Make that 9 now.
Just 2 shy of his season high, which is also his career high.
Most of the strikeouts today for Porcello have come on the curveball. That time it's a 2-seamer at the bottom of the zone. He wanted the ground ball, but he'll take the strikeout. 3rd strikeout of the evening turned in by their catcher, Zunino.
Action of the Tigers. Ben Alvarez the lefty and Albuquerque the righty. Franklin 0 for 2, ground ball and a fly ball. And he looks at a breaking ball low, 1-0. "14 strikeouts in his last 14 2/3 innings.
Just 3 base on balls.
1-1.
Good changeup.
Franklin to fly out and a ground out. He is also a former 1st-round pick. That was back in 2009. Swing and a miss. 1-2 the count. Porcello now 1 strike away from his 10th strikeout of this game. And the most pitches he's thrown in any start this year is 106. He's at 104 right now.
And more than likely it's going to be it for him. Jim won't allow him to go much further than that. Hopefully the Tigers, if he gets out of this, can score him a run and put him in a position to win his 13th game of the year.
And the 1-2. Got him, strike 3. Franklin caught looking. 10, count them, 10 strikeouts for Rick Porcello.
Torrey Hunter single, then he was able to scamper all the way to third on a Miguel Cabrera single. Then he came home on the wild pitch. The Seattle Mariners, they got their run. It came on one big, mighty swing of the bat off of Abraham Almonte's. Porcello threw a breaking ball down in his nitro zone, and he hit it out for a solo shot to right field. 10 strikeouts by Porcello. Outstanding movement on the two-seamer. The curveballs had great tilt on it as well. Has leaded very few changeups. Our Xfinity high-speed pitch of the evening for Porcello. He topped out at 94 miles an hour.
Second time this year Rick has gone double digits in strikeouts. Here is Jackson now trying to get the offense going. AJ fouls it back out of play, down to the count 0-2.
Jackson's had 2 good at-bats his first time up. He hit one right back to the middle that Joe Saunders was able to get a piece of, and it trickled to the shortstop for the putout.
Saunders, meanwhile, had thrown just 64 pitches to get through 5 innings. Here's the 0-2. And he's a guy that is, or at least coming into this game, had an ERA of over 7 in the second half and a 3-6 record. But the Tigers have managed only 4 hits against him tonight. Here comes the fastball in, and it missed the corner. 2-2 on Jackson. Austin with a single and a ground out. Hunter next, and then Miguel Cabrera. Swing and a miss. Jackson is out on strikes. First out of the 6th inning. At least 3 strikeouts now for Saunders.
Good fastball that he wanted inside, but it kind of leaped right back over the plate, but Jackson's still unable to catch up to it.
Torrey has a single and bounced into a double play his last time up. Takes way outside 1-0. Sends a ground ball short. Trienfeld to his left. And Hunter is out. 6-3. Fans, don't forget, coming up tomorrow against Seattle, first 10,000 fans receive a Miguel Cabrera bobblehead. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com and score yourself one of these really nifty Miguel Cabrera bobbleheads. 2 up, 2 down here in the 6th inning. And now here is Cabrera. Only 4 Tigers hits. Cabrera has one of them. He's singled. Goes back in the first to set up the first Tigers run.
If you're Saunders here, you can't allow Miguel Cabrera to beat you. Not in a 1-1 game, bottom half of the 6th inning, and not with the success you had against left-handers this year. You have to pitch to Miguel very carefully.
August 26th, the last home run for Cabrera. That was against Oakland. Way outside. He's doing just that, 3-0. Saunders has not allowed a hit since Jackson's single way back in the 3rd. And Cabrera takes a strike, 3-1. .75 now for Saunders. Outside, he lost him, so that'll be a 2-out walk. And it'll bring up Prince Fielder. You mentioned lefties batting just .220 against Saunders. Pitching awfully carefully to Cabrera. Fielder fly to center field and then bounced out. He's 0 for 2. .365 this year following a Miguel Cabrera walk. Soft line drive left, base hit. That'll get Cabrera to second base as Prince once again goes the other way. Something brewing now with 2 outs. It's just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game. It is brought to you by Miller Lite.
Joe Saunders pitched around Miguel Cabrera to get to Prince Fielder. Now he finds himself in a situation where he's got to go after one of the hottest hitters in the big leagues the last 2 months, and that would be Victor Martinez with a runner in scoring position.
Victor batting .297. He has put the ball on the ground twice in this game. Once to short, once to third.
If he's going to drive Miguel Cabrera in from second base, it's going to have to be something that the outfielders have to move for. And when I say move, I mean laterally to the left or the right. Anything straight at him is going to be a tough call for Tom Brookins, who's occupying that third base coaching box.
Time called now as Zunino heads out to the mound to chat with Saunders, who gave up the 2-out walk to Miguel, then the single to Fielder.
It's one of the things that makes coaching third base so difficult in these decisions. And not only with Miguel, but just about any of your base runners out there, you have to know their speed, what kind of jumps they get, the outfielder's arms, who's coming up next. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into some of the decisions that you make.
Two and 0 the count.
A healthy Miguel Cabrera would be no problem for Tom Brookins. He has told us on the regular that Miguel has some of the best base running instincts of any player he's ever coached, although not the fastest. Great instincts.
Martinez sends a ground ball far inside the bag at first base. Here comes Cabrera lumbering around third. He will score. Ball is bobbled by Almonte. Fielder goes to third, and the Tigers have the lead. Martinez comes through again.
Saunders put himself in that situation by pitching around Miguel Cabrera, but you really can't fault him for that. Give Victor a lot of credit. That is a 2-1 pitch that is off the plate outside that Victor simply took what was given to him, and Almonte had to range far to his left in right field. Therefore, Tom Brookins sent Cabrera home.
And Rick Porcello watches eagerly on the bench, knowing now that the Tigers have the lead and he has a chance to get a win here tonight.
Unselfish at bat. Most guys that do the damage with the bat that Victor does, if they get themselves in a 2-1 count, they're not trying to trickle anything down the right field line. They're looking to hit a gapper somewhere.
This all started with Saunders pitching around Cabrera. He walked him with 2 outs. And so Fielder's at bat key here. He singled to left field to bring up the right-hander Martinez, who delivers.
Kept the line moving, did Prince Fielder.
Wilhelmsen now starting to warm up in the Seattle bullpen. Tom Wilhelmsen.
He was closing last time we saw them in April. He was
nasty.
He was nasty.
Here is Infante. Might as well pile on now. Omar trying to drive in another run. Has a double and a strikeout in this game.
Good fastball count here for Omar Infante, but doesn't mean he's going to get one. Everybody in baseball by now knows he clobbers fastballs, but they're going to try to go inside with one. Uh-oh.
Ooh, he clobbered that one. Oh, did he hit it hard, but he pulled it foul.
That boy don't miss his fastballs.
1 ball, 1 strike on Infante.
Good located pitch, though. I mean, they got it in there. Omar got out in front of it because he knew he was going to get to Heater. A lot of times Saunders likes to follow that up with that real good arm side fade changeup.
2-on walk to Cabrera, got it started. He comes around to score the go-ahead. Line drive to left, base hit, get another one in. Fielder scores. Infante has his second hit of the game, and the Tigers lead 3-1.
Saunders threw one fastball inside to Omar Infante, and he hooked it foul. So he thought Omar was looking for something soft. He thought maybe he could try to get inside with a fastball. He doesn't quite get it where Zunino, the catcher, wants it, and that allows Omar to rip that ball to left field for the third run of the game for the Tigers.
All of this with 2 outs and nobody on.
That's why Ned Yost, who was here just a few days ago, talked about how difficult it is sometimes to walk Miguel Cabrera, whether you're doing it intentionally or whether you're doing it unintentionally, because you have the guys that bat behind him that are such professional hitters, but it's the one guy that you can't sleep at night if you allow him to beat you. But you can sleep if the other guys beat you, but you can't sleep if you allow the best hitter on the planet to beat you.
Meanwhile, Eric Wedge now is going to go to the bullpen. Will Helmson will be coming in. And Saunders, who is cruising along here with 2 outs, nobody on, is going to be lifted from the game. It'll be a wall side windows pitching change here at the ballpark. We'll step aside. 3-1 Detroit. Scott's fan poll question of the game. Here it is. Of these 4, which young team in the major leagues do you think has the most future potential? Is it A, the Astros, B, the White Sox, C, the Marlins, or D, these Seattle Mariners? Text ACE, then a space, then A, B, C, or D to 37338.
Oh, that's a tough question tonight.
I have no idea where to go with that. I might go with C.
Which one?
C.
Who was that?
Marlins.
Marlins.
Yeah, they got a good young players. How about Saunders? He's a little bit upset.
A little flippage, a little snappage.
Get out of the way, everyone. There goes a water bottle. Here comes another one.
It's a kind snap, though.
What else you got?
Might as well throw that towel, too.
Tom Wilhelmsen is on now for Seattle.
And 3.93 ERA for Wilhelmsen. 30 walks, 39 strikeouts in 50 2/3 innings. He got off to a fabulous start this year. When we saw him in April, he was closing for the Seattle Mariners, and I mean, he was doing it with a heavy dose of power fastballs.
Don Kelly pinch hitting for Tuiasa Sopo as Leland counters the move. 2 runs in for Detroit, and it's foul down the third base line out of the reach of Seager.
Wilhelmsen, his fastball will get all the way up to 98 miles an hour. He's got a curveball that he really likes as well. He throws that about 26% of the time. And he also has a changeup, circle changeup.
One ball, one strike on Don Kelly. Ground ball to first. Smoke bobbles it, and now he'll flip to Wilhelmsen for the out.
Box me up a crate of those.
Tigers able to get 2 runs. I'll start with a walk and then hits by fielder Martinez Infante. National American League Division Series games at Comerica Park go on sale tomorrow at 12 noon. For tickets, visit Tigers.com. Postseason right around the corner. Tigers trying to get there. And they have taken a 3-1 lead now. This is Porcello's game to win if the bullpen can hold it as we go to the 7th. New pitcher on now is lefty Drew Smiley.
Yeah, Drew Smiley threw a wild pitch in yesterday's game, coughed up the lead. Max did not get his 20th win, but with the Avila home run in the bottom half of the 8th inning, Drew Smiley ran his record to 6-0 this year.
Tuiasa Sopo is out of the game. Don Kelly pinch hit for him, so he will stay in the contest and play left. Number 9 hitter Carlos Trienfel will lead things off. Trienfel, Ackley, and then Almonte. Drew Smiley goes to work as we start things off here in the 7th, and his first pitch is in for a strike. Tigers have 3 runs, 7 hits. Seattle 1 run, 5 hits. Drops down a bunt, right back to the mound. And Smiley throws him out. Trienfel is now 0 for 3. Top of the order now, Dustin Ackley. Singled way back in the first, otherwise a ground out and a strikeout tonight for Ackley. And Smiley throws a strike, 0-1. Porcello goes the first 6 innings tonight, strikes out 10. Now it's up to the bullpen to get him his 13th victory of the season. Alvarez the lefty, Albuquerque the righty. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Lifted back out of play. 2-2 on Dustin Ackley. The second overall choice in the 2009 draft out of University of North Carolina, where he Went to the College World Series 3 consecutive years.
He was an absolute star at North Carolina.
3-2.
That was back when North Carolina, boy, they had some impressive runs going to the College World Series.
Skies this one to center field. Jackson coming in. It'll be routine, and there are 2 gone.
Seattle Mariners could be a difficult team to match up with if they had some guys that were having better years. They have 4 switch hitters in their starting lineup, so that always presents problems for the opposing manager when deciding who to bring out of his bullpen. But he chose Smiley to turn some of the guys around to the right side where they don't have as much success as they do batting left-handed.
So here is Almonte, who homered back in the 3rd, and to this point the only Seattle run. That tied the game at 1 at that point.
He's one of those switch hitters.
Also had an infield single back in the 5th inning. Here's the 0-1. Seattle's had some opportunities tonight. They have stranded a total of 7 runners in this game. They had 2 on in the 6th inning, but Porcello got strikeouts of Zunino and Franklin to close down that frame. Now the outer edge, a strike, 1-2. Almonte this year between AA and AAA hit .300, stole 26 bases. Another one bounce again, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he also hit 15 home runs. Trying to get it to the on deck hitter Kyle Seager. Swing and a miss, and Smiley has himself a 1-2-3 7th inning. Down and order they go. Now time for the 7th inning stretch presented by Health Plus. Top of Seattle 3-1 as they play in the bottom of the 7th inning. Rick Porcello, what a night tonight. He punched out 10 in this contest, his 2nd career 10 or more strikeout game. And let's see, Infante 2 out of 3, doubled an RBI. And Victor had that big go-ahead single in the 6th inning.
And because of the double-digit strikeout performance tonight of Porcello, he lasted just 6 innings in this game before the pitch count got him.
Avila tonight is 0 for 2, strikeout, reaching on a fielder's choice in the 5th inning. And Wilhelmsen deals a strike. The former closer for Seattle, Wilhelmsen had 29 saves last year. He'll bring home the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball dives in for a strike.
95 with the first fastball to Alex Avila, and he backs that up with a 77-mile-per-hour breaking ball.
Wilhelmsen this year 24 saves before giving way to Danny Farquhar, who is their closer now. And that one missed, 1-2.
Yeah, Farquhar, he was just a throw-in in the Ichiro Suzuki deal, but now finds himself pitching some valuable innings out of that M's bullpen.
Here's the 1-2. It'll get fouled down the left field line.
Big day for Avila yesterday. He homered his very first time up off of Jeremy Guthrie, and that gave the Tigers the lead. That was the 2nd inning, and then he did it once again. Guthrie was still in the game somehow, and Guthrie took the loss. That was a breaking ball. The first one was a fastball. The second one was a slider.
Not sure which one I was more impressed with, going the opposite way to get one out of this ballpark, or hitting one where he hit one that second time.
He's hit 5 huge home runs this year. I mean, huge home runs.
He has just drilled Wilhelmsen and will have himself an infield hit. Leadoff single for Avila, and they'll check on Wilhelmsen now.
Here's some of those big home runs that Avila has hit this year. You can decide which one you think is the biggest. It started against Jose Veras. That was back in Houston to begin the season. The date was on May 3rd, and then he did it again June 1st at Baltimore. That was the 3rd of 3 consecutive big flies by the Tigers. That one there, that was a granny against Strasburg, one of the best pitchers in the game, and then he did it at Cleveland against Perez, and then yesterday we just showed you Jeremy Guthrie. All of those home runs, huge home runs for the Tigers.
Well, the one that he hit against Cleveland might be the biggest of that bunch that you showed, but the one that he hit against Strasburg, when you turned Strasburg around for a grand slam, to me that was electric.
It was nice. The one against Perez was huge because the Tigers were looking like they were going to lose the first game of that 4-game series, which they eventually went on to sweep. But had it not been for that big hit by Alex, who knows how that series would have turned.
Yeah, there's no doubt that was the biggest. Avila hitting .313 in the second half. Well, it took him a while, but apparently Wilhelmsen will stay in the game.
He was smoked. He was hit so hard that he didn't even try to get up to find the baseball. Usually you see pitchers get up and try to alert where the ball is. He was in pain.
Now Iglesias. Double play ball his last time up. Showing bunt, drops it down. Wilhelmsen will throw him out. Sacrifice, advances the runner.
The one constant with Avila lately, and we put up some numbers earlier, his second half numbers, he has been catching that ball out in front. His hands are working very efficiently for him. I mean, they are lightning quick.
Tigers trying to get an insurance run in here as they set up Austin Jackson, who was hitting at a .330 clip over his last 24 contests. Got another hit tonight. He's 1 for 3. He'll shoot that one foul down the right field line. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oliver Perez and Carter Capps in the Seattle bullpen loosening. Here's the 1-1. Bouncing ball to third. Seager will check the runner. Jackson is out, 2 away. So it's going to take a 2-out hit. Torrey Hunter, and he's just the man to provide it. He's 1 for 3 tonight, single and a run scored. Torrey trying for his 51st multi-hit game of the year. As you check out the Tigers box score. Swing and a miss. Well, Holmson went from closing games, being sent down to the minor leagues. That was back in early August. Ground ball, foul, third base side.
Told you earlier that their starting second baseman when the season began, also Dustin Ackley, who's now playing center field, also sent down to the minor leagues this year because he was struggling. And Jack Zarensik, their general manager, he's in the last year of his contract, as is their manager Eric Wedge.
Bouncing ball back up the middle into center. That's a base hit. Avila coming around third. He'll score, and Torrey gets another RBI.
Will Helmson's got to be kicking himself for giving Torrey Hunter such a good pitch to hit. No balls and 2 strikes, but that's exactly what has happened a lot this year with Torrey Hunter, because Miguel Cabrera is batting right behind him. Gets lots of good pitches to hit with runners in the scoring position because pitchers are reluctant into walking him.
So Hunter gets another multi-hit game, his 51st of the year. Climbing back toward 300.
Tigers manufactured that run. Bunt, sack, base hit by Torrey with 2 outs.
Two balls, no strikes now on Cabrera, who was walked with 2 outs and nobody on in the 6th by the starter Saunders, and that turned out to be his downfall.
The Tigers have done a very nice job overall this entire season at scoring runs after 2 are out, and 3 of the 4 they've scored tonight. Well, you got it. 2 outs.
Sends that one foul back into the seats. 2-1. Tigers had 4 runs, 9 hits. Seattle a run on 5 hits as Jose Veras now loosens. The 8th inning will be his. Ball low, 3-1. Will Helmson started this year by recording 11 consecutive saves. This fielder waiting on deck. Fly ball, right field, hit well. But it's going to die in front of the warning track to end the inning. Tigers get another run. 7 innings in the books. Tigers showing some defense tonight. Rick Porcello has been outstanding, and some runs scored as well. 4 runs, 9 hits. Detroit a run on 5 hits for the visiting Seattle Mariners on a nippy night here at the ballpark. Tigers trying to get a little bit closer to that Central Division crown. They came in with a magic number of 9. And Torrey Hunter knocking in another run in the 7th inning to make it 4-1. Meanwhile, Drew Smyly will stay out there as we check out the Central Division standings. Cleveland down 5, KC down 8. Cleveland right now, I think, more focused on the wild card, which they're a half game out of, or at least were coming into play tonight. Seager will lead it off, the left-handed batter, so it is Smyly still out there after a 1-2-3 7th. And it's in for a strike. Seager has a walk tonight, otherwise 0 for 2. Ooh, he tried to hold up. That was not a good looking swing.
Looking fastball, good breaking ball by Drew Smyly, and it had Seager out in front of it. Go a couple different ways here. You can elevate out of the zone at about 93, make sure you get it up, or you make sure if you bury that breaking ball, you get it down and away.
Buried it down and away, but in the dirt. 1-2. Jim Leyland, Jeff Jones feeling good about it right now as we play in the 8th, 3-run lead. Kendrys Morales on deck. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Mariners are striking out in bunches tonight.
Well, we told you this might be a really good series for Tigers pitchers. They've punched out a bunch overall this season. And Rick Porcello started the party with 10 punch outs and a beautifully located slider there by Drew Smyly. You know, the Seattle Mariners are challenged offensively. They're one of the poorest offensive clubs in baseball.
12 Tigers strikeouts tonight. Here is Kendrys Morales. He's got 2 of them.
Tigers are going to break that record by their starting pitchers that we showed yesterday since 1968, the Cleveland Indians, and all the strikeouts they racked up. The Tigers are closing in on that mark.
Ball low, 2-0. They had to average about 5 per game. We're well over that tonight. Here's the 2-0. Fly ball, right center field. Jackson, Hunter. It's Hunter. 2 outs. Five in a row retired by Drew Smyly out of the Detroit bullpen. And now Ibanez.
5 outs on 21 pitches, so he's doing it efficiently as well. 13 of the 21 have hit the strike zone.
Tigers pitching tonight, allowing just 5 hits, 12 strikeouts, 1 run. That's it. Ibanez hammers one toward left center field. That's looking like trouble. That ball is way back, and it's going to go up against the wall. Ibanez will head to second with a 2-out, 2-base hit.
And I told you earlier that even at age 41, Ibanez has no difficulty catching up to good fastballs. That 1-0 fastball was at 90 miles an hour. He went down to get it and hit it right in between Kelly and Jackson.
So here is Smoke now with 2 outs, and with the lefty on the mound, he'll bat right-handed, the switch hitter, but he's just 179 from the right side.
Todd Helton, a talented first baseman of the Colorado Rockies, announced that he was going to retire after this year is over. Have you heard anything on Ibanez following this season?
Nope. Heard Kotze as well calling it quits. Mark Kotze. Have not heard about Ibanez. He is right now. He's sitting on 298 home runs. And obviously he would love to get to the 300 plateau. Doesn't look like he's slowing down. Smoke on base twice in this game. There's a ball outside. single and an error. One and two. Four to one Detroit. We're in the eighth. Ibanez at second with a 2-out double. Way inside, almost hit him. Now, double by Ibanez, only the 6th hit tonight for Seattle. And now Smoke will step out. And the 2-2. Drilled foul. Well, there is the news on Todd Helton, who officially announced his retirement. Pirates have won 6 of their last 7, tied for the Central Division lead now.
Todd Helton with 2,505 hits will never ever get the credit that he deserves because he played in Coors Field in Denver.
If Buchholz coming back off the DL for Boston is big for them. There's a ground ball, base hit left field. Here comes Ibanez rounding third. He will score. It's a 2-out RBI single by Justin Smoke. And now it's a 2-run game. A couple of 2-out hits, and here comes Jim Leyland. And the skipper has made the call for the bullpen.
Seeing eye single for Justin Smoke, who went down to get a pretty good pitch thrown by Smiley. Iglesias nor Cabrera could get there.
Smiley retired 5 straight, but now he comes out of the game and will be back. Now it's 4-2 back here at Comerica Park in game 1 in this series. By the way, here is your chance to win an autographed Justin Verlander or Nick Lidstrom life-size bobblehead during our tin can auction. You can purchase 2 for $5 raffle tickets at any game or any time prior to the end of the 3rd inning at Gate D tomorrow for the ball game. Right here at Comerica Park, and all proceeds will benefit the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan, the Detroit Tigers Foundation, the Red Wings Foundation, and affiliates of Village Charities. And now Jose Veras will take over for Detroit.
He's done nice work since putting on the Tigers uniform. Here are his overall numbers combined between the Houston Astros, where he had 19 saves. He has a Couple of saves with the Tigers. The whip just a shade over 1. And the one thing and the one area that Jose has really improved this year, it's the base on balls. Just 21 of those this year.
Michael Saunders is the counter move to Veras. He will pinch hit for Zunino. And Veras missing outside with a fastball. 1-0. 4-9-1 for Detroit. 2-7-1 for Seattle. Saunders batting .232. .290 though in his career against Detroit pitching.
Saunders can do a lot of things on a baseball field. He can run, he can throw, he's a good defender. He's got a little pop in that bat, but the batting average at just .232, so that is one of his tools that really hasn't caught up yet.
He was just 1 for his last 11. Here's the 2-0. Saunders this year has had 3 pinch hitting opportunities. He is 1 for 3. Smiley retired 5 straight, then gave up the double to Ibanez and the RBI single to Smoke. Big swing there, 2-2. Now Veras ready with the 2-2. It breaks inside. 3-2 now, which means with 2 outs, runner is on the move. On deck, Franklin. Runner goes, and a drive in the air to right field. Straight at Torrey Hunter, and that'll end the inning. Veras gets it done. 1 run on 2 hits, 1 man left. Bottom of the 8th coming up.
Soon as the game ends, stay right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Mickey and Craig Monroe are in the Call Sam studios. I will be working the clubhouse, trying to get all kinds of interviews for you. I'll be talking to Jim Leland, and hopefully if the Tigers win, I'm going to try to snag an interview with Victor Martinez here on the field. Mario Dorado, I'll send it back up to you, because right now Miguel Cabrera is making faces at me behind the camera. It's very distracting. He's jumping up and down, so you guys can take it away.
You held it like a professional. Very well done, Shannon. Thank you very much. All right, the Tigers trying to add to their lead. There's Cabrera, always the jokester. That's just what he does, along with playing really good baseball. Oliver Perez, the veteran, checks in now for Seattle.
2 pitches for Perez. His fastball will get from 92 to 95 miles an hour, and he's got a slider. And it's a tight slider. He throws that about 38% of the time. So righties get fastballs, left-handers get lots of sliders.
Prince Fielder starts it off now, facing the lefty. We're in the bottom of the 8th, 2-run game. Breaking ball sails inside, 1-0. Perez has been in the big leagues, as you see Henry Blanco is the new catcher, since 2002 with a bunch of different teams. But it had been a while since he had gotten his first big league save. In fact, he just got it this past June.
He also pitched in the World Baseball Classic this spring, and he performed very well.
Fielder is 1 for 3. Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic. Meanwhile, 3-0 now on Fielder. Tigers got 2 in the 6th to break a 1-1 tie. Then they added 1 more in the 7th, and that run that Torrey Hunter drove in the 7th looking a little bit larger now. Here's the 3-0. He's taking it's a strike, 3-1. Hernan Perez loosening up in case he's needed. Here's a strike call. Three and 2. Tigers have 9 hits, 7 for Seattle. And he lost it, ball 4. Leadoff walk here for Perez. That wouldn't mark the plan. Now Victor Martinez. It was Victor that drove in the go-ahead run when the game was tied 1-1 in the 6th. Making Porcello eligible to get a win in this game here tonight. That's it for strike 1. Big league teams for Perez. He broke in with San Diego, pitched in Pittsburgh quite a few years, also with the Mets. Part of last season with Seattle. 32 years of age. The 0-1. Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's got a lot of deception in his delivery, different looks, turning the bat on that final ball 4 to Prince Fielder, and that's the reason why he can't find the strike zone this evening. 8 pitches, 5 balls.
In the air, right center field, Ackley coming over. It'll be the first out of the inning. Well, the wild card standings certainly becoming really interesting. Tampa Bay and Texas came in tied, and they're actually playing each other tonight. Cleveland a half game back, and we'll have an update from the studio coming up on that wild card chase. Here is Omar Infante. A lot of people keep asking me who
would you like to see the Tigers play in the postseason if they're fortunate enough to get there? And I really don't have a team that, and obviously I'm not playing, but when the Tigers are playing well, they match up against anybody. They've got a quality big league team, so I can't really say, in my opinion, one team that I would not rather see.
There's Joaquin Benoit warming up. I would agree with that. It really doesn't matter to me, I don't think. I mean, there's not that one team out there that makes you say, uh-oh.
Most people feel like because the Oakland Athletics came in here and rolled over the Tigers for 3 of the 4 days, the Tigers barely won one of those games. A lot of people are afraid of Oakland.
I will say this. Going to Fenway Park is tough. And now that they have Buchholz back, he adds some depth to their rotation. The 1-1 pitch, bouncing ball to short. There's one, and the relay is in time for a double play. 6-4-3, which means we go to the ninth. The Tigers up by 2. Yeah, Mick, thanks. It is 4-2 as we go to the ninth inning. Last call now for Seattle. And if postseason were to start today, this is what the tournaments would look like. The Tigers would take on the A's. Boston, the winner of the wild card. Over in the National League, Atlanta would wait on the winner of the wild card, and the Dodgers and Cardinals would square off.
3 teams potentially getting in the National League from the Central. St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and the Cincinnati Redlegs.
We'll see how it shakes out. We still have some time before that is finalized. Joaquin Benoit now is the new pitcher for Detroit.
No blemishes in the save opportunity department for Joaquin Benoit since he's taken over that role. He has been sensational out of that Tigers bullpen with 3+ pitches. Fastball mid-90s, real good changeup, and an occasional slider.
His mission here is to protect this 2-run lead and get the Tigers a 4-2 victory here tonight. Nick Franklin leading it off. He is 0 for 3.
And one of the 4 switch hitters that Eric Wedge has in the starting lineup this evening.
One ball, 1 strike. Benoit takes over for Veras, who took over for Smiley. Porcello went 6, throwing 105 pitches in this game. This would be his game to win if the Tigers can hold on. Ball outside. 2-1. Now it's 3 balls, 1 strike on Nick Franklin, who came in batting just .216, and he's 0 for 3 tonight. Endy Chavez has moved to the on-deck circle in a pinch hitting role. He lost it. Didn't want to do that. Leadoff walk to the number 8 hitter, hitting just a little bit over 200.
Brought this up a little bit earlier. You never want to walk anybody in the 9th inning to bring the tying run to the plate, but this is not like going up against the Kansas City Royals. He will not stress Benoit out as far as whether he's going to steal second base or not. So Benoit can simply concentrate on Endy Chavez.
Endy's been around a long time.
He has a lot of clubs.
2001, his first major league team. He's been around so long. He played in Montreal.
Second tour of duty with the M's as well.
There's a strike to Endy Chavez. .270 this year, couple of homers, 14 driven in. Way outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. So Benoit has come out of the bullpen throwing 7 pitches, but 5 of those have missed the strike zone. Jim Leland's stomach starting to do some somersaults now. Hit towards second on 1 hop. Infante Iglesias. That's a double play.
Real nice shuffle there by Infante, who did not throw it underneath, but he threw it backhanded to Iglesias to make sure it was firm, which would allow Iglesias to grab it and then finish the double play. Watch the feed here by Infante. Firm feed to Jose. This double play combination has been stellar since Iglesias was acquired from the Boston Red Sox.
Dustin Ackley is their last chance. He takes a strike. One for 4 tonight for Ackley. Grounded foul. So now the M's down to their final strike. Off the plate, 1-2. Monte waiting on deck. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Benoit does it again. A save here in the 9th, and the Tigers win game 1 in this series. The magic number falls by 1. Magic number at 8 for the Tigers. As Detroit gets closer and closer to a postseason bid again here in 2013. Final score tonight, Tigers a winner 4-2. Back with more in a moment.